This episode, we're gonna get into one of my favorite podcasts, persons, groups. Like, I remember when I started off. That's the intro. Let's go.
Play the intro.
Lord, let's serve you some whiskey. And we're back. On today's episode, I was thinking, you know what? I need to do something different for people, of like things that you're looking to add for a new bar setup. Now, for this series, I was thinking about in general cool bottles that you can go and find that's not hard to find, that won't break the bank, that are enjoyable, that you can kind of learn from, and that you will be able to appreciate bourbon and whiskey itself. One thing in particular about me too, on my journey, I came across this group called Bourbon Pursuit. Shout out to Kenny, shout out to Ryan. Like, hands down, when I say I went through the archives when I came across them, I went almost damn near every last interview they had on YouTube in the last 7 years. I listened to so many of the audio versions. They put me on to so many different, not only distilleries, but like headmaster distillers for so many companies alive and those who have passed away since recording. And their plethora of knowledge and their connections in the industry is crazy. So like, I learned literally the vast of everything that I know, literally from just watching and listening to them interview some of the greatest of the greatest, and that put me on to not only craft distilleries but who's who. And it's like musical chairs in the industry. It's like people start off in one distillery, then they go to another distillery, and they go over here and start another distillery, and so on and so on and so on. Now, so there's a bunch, obviously, a Pursuit United behind me and Pursuit United on the other side of me. We'll get into it, but today we're gonna particularly focus on the everyday expression that they offer that's available, which is the Pursuit United bourbon. Now, this is a little and a bit different than everything we've covered so far on this page. This page is relatively new. I'm probably only a few videos in. As you see, each video, the vibe of the video changes. We're getting there. So I would say out of all the bottles I've recommended so far, this may be the one that may be a little hard to maybe come across and easy to find. And also price point, it may be a little bit more than a few bottles that I recommended in the previous videos. But spoiler alert, super worth it. We're gonna get into this one. Now, off bat, the main thing that people in the whiskey and bourbon industry talk about is particularly, bourbon geeks or bourbon nerds or whoever the case may be, is transparency. Because a lot of times you purchase bottles and you don't know what you're getting. You see a name, let's just say Holy Cow, and you buy this bottle of bourbon from Holy Cow, and you're thinking, oh my God, this bourbon is good or is bad. Holy Cow makes the best bourbon ever. But 9 times out of 10, Holy Cow probably sources their bourbon. Now, as I always say, what is source? We'll get into it another day. But long story short, a lot of companies aren't really transparent on where they're getting their whiskey from. So they're passing it off as if they're making it as themselves. So what Pursuit United did was not only do they source for each distillery that they work with, they actually make their own mash bill and distill there. And they even are in control of like the barrels that they choose and the type of barrels that they pick for the most part. So they're hands-on in control from day one for the Pursuit United brand. Now in the past, they have done one-off picks with different companies where like they gone and picked a barrel and bottle it as themselves, but this was kind of like their own group pick or whatever. So yeah, unfortunately, I'll be honest, when I got into the bourbon hunt, I came across a lot of like the earlier episode bottles I wish I would have grabbed, and I was too slow. So this is literally the only episode, episode 49, and I believe this is what I mean reading the bottle. I'm reading the bottle. This is Starlight. So yeah. Now, I know you're wondering, Lord, what is so special about Pursuit United? Well, I'll tell you right now, this is gonna be, oh shit. Oops, and cut. Now, I know you're wondering, Lord, what makes them different? I'll tell you right now, this, so far, what we've covered in chronological order, has been the only bourbon that's been distilled by 3 different distilleries. I'll break them down right now: Kentucky, Tennessee, and New York. Whereas the other bourbons so far in this series we covered have only been for Kentucky. Now, with this already been from Kentucky, Tennessee, and New York, it's automatically different. As you go on your journey, you will start to discover that each distillery has their own taste profile. So when you start to do things like a blend and mix them together, it opens up a whole new world. Now, there are other companies, other distilleries in the game that are doing different things, especially with blending different, distilleries from different states. This one in particular I like. I would do another video for another day because I got a crazy lineup from them. But for right now, we're talking about Pursuit United. So off bat, going back to transparency, not only do they have the states, they have the proof, and then if you go on the back, they have a little bit about their story on there, and then they said blended and bottled by Pursuit Spirits, Bardstown, Kentucky. So we know that they blend and bottle their own whiskey, and on top of that, they're doing contract distillation with a distillery in Kentucky, Tennessee, and New York. Now, I know you're thinking, why would I need that bottle on my shelf? Now, as you're building your collection, you're thinking about something every day that you can sip on, right? And then you're thinking about something maybe that you can have with friends when they come over, like a party setting. And then maybe every once in a while, a special occasion pour. Then eventually you need to have a few bottles that are unique that make you think, message! Pursuit United for me is one of those. Let's get into this. I poured up already the Pursuit United, which is the regular offering of the bourbon. Now, so let's get into it. Tasting notes. So let's go in for the taste. Already on the nose, I'm getting a huge banana Laffy Taffy note. I love banana Laffy Taffy. Let me know if you like banana Laffy Taffy. I do. Animal crackers for sure. I'm getting. That's a unique note. It's almost like an almond note in there. Not like a marzipan note, candied almond. And a Chico stick. I feel like the biggest note, in my personal opinion, in this glass right now is the banana Laffy Taffy at first nose, and then the Chico stick. And the Chico stick eventually overpowers the banana Laffy Taffy, but it's in there. Let's go on for the taste. At 108, already, the finish is really nice. It's a decent finish. It lingers. It's not very, very long, but it's like a medium, in my opinion. The notes do transfer over. Yep. I'm getting more of a candy note now. Like I said, the almonds is in there, the Chico stick, banana Laffy Taffy, and so on and so on. Now, I would say backtrack. I'm unsure on where they source from in Tennessee, but I know that there is a distillery in Tennessee that has a crazy banana note that I get a lot, especially on like their barrel proof expressions. New York, I know where they source from because they mention it all the time. And then Kentucky, I believe it's an obvious. This is super good. I highly recommend this one. Before I even go into the next one, you just gotta pick this up, hands down. It's worth it. It's something different that it's gonna vary between batch to batch. Also, not to say your friend won't have this bottle if they're not into whiskey. It's just super, super unique that you can put another person on to this particular bottle. Now, for the next expression, it's a bottle that I went out my way to look for. It even showed up and then it was the wrong bottle. Then they had to mail me the right bottle. It is none other than Double Oaked. So the Double Oak is coming in at 108 proof. Wow. Now I would admit, when I first tried this, was not a fan, and I don't believe on placing judgment after the first sip, especially if you're on the bottle. If you're at a bar, it's kind of weird because you just have to take a sip and then you paid your money and then you probably won't visit it again. But if you have the bottle, 9 out of 10, like I've mentioned in previous videos, you just have to go try it again at a later date. Give the bottle time to open up. Air changes a lot. You'd be surprised. Night and day, I swear. Anyway, so right now, this will be my 4th time trying this, and let's see what we get now. The first thing that pops out of me, carrying on from the first one, I would say now it's like an almond croissant that I'm smelling. I love almond croissants. Second, I'm getting huge cream cheese notes. Almost like a dessert cream cheese. There's cherry in it, but the cherry is buried under the cream cheese. Now, you put it all together, I'm getting more of a cheesecake note now. So now it's playing all together. I would say now this is more like an almond cheesecake. brown sugar. It's like a faint creme brulee. So I would say creme brulee, cream cheese with almonds, and then cherry. So let's go for the taste. With 108, I feel, you know, obviously it's the same proof as the other one, but the difference with the double oak I feel is more amplified in taste, and also the proof. Whereas the proof is the same, but the double oaken, it intensifies the flavors a bit, so it's lingering a little bit more than the standard offerings. Overall, this is good. This is, after time it opened, I'm understanding and appreciating this one more. I would say once this bottle is over, I definitely would totally buy another one, hands down. The nose is pretty pleasant too. Super worth buying. Now, just off nose, I'm gonna do a quick comparison real quick. Palette, good old palette cleanser. So yeah, let's go. We're gonna decide right now if you had a choice between buy either or. You know, we're not gonna really focus on the rye right now. I don't have that open. But either or, which one should you add to your collection? Just by nose right now. So this is the regular offering, the bourbon, the regular bourbon. That's good. So a sidebar, I know in this journey you come across so many things, right? I came across this video, like many of you have, if you haven't so far, Richard Patterson. Richard Patterson is one of the main guys at Dalmore. And I saw this video on how you nose whiskey and taste whiskey, and then there's this video he goes, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Good, how are you? You know, so I always keep that with me. I would say honestly, hands down, although like I said, I did have a bias with the double oak at first, I'm still the same way. I would personally recommend the regular bourbon offering. Only because I feel like it's definitely gonna be more than enough and easy to find, and it's still super unique. Once again, like I mentioned in the previous video, if you don't like over oak things or the oak profile, then you may personally be turned off with the double oak bourbon. So I wouldn't recommend you going out your way to find this. Now, if you like oak and that's like your vibe, like, oh, I'm an oak head, then go find the double oak for sure. You may like it and enjoy it. But if you're just starting off your bar, you can't go wrong with this, hands down. I would definitely recommend this, and this honestly would be a great gateway into you getting into other distilleries as well as other craft distilleries and other people who do great jobs at blending as well. Now, I would say this much, when you get into your journey, you're gonna come across so many different types of bourbon. You know, the regular entry-level expressions, and if they have a higher proof one, and if they're double oaking or using staves or, you know, toasted cubes or whatever the case may be, you just have to try them out. So I would definitely recommend picking up the Pursuit United. It's definitely, depending on the market you're in, I would say they're pretty transparent. What you could do, go to their website, check them out. I'm pretty sure they have a locator on where to find them, and then you can find your market and then see which stores it in. I would say this much, I've probably seen where I'm at these more online outside of my state versus in my state. I know for sure because they don't have distribution here yet. So check their site. 9 times out of 10, they probably will distribute to your state. Just check them out. If not, there are a few mom and pop stores online that you could go to that actually will ship it to your door for the most part. Now I would say the double oak has been sold out. It was sold out of their distillery, and it was definitely sold out online where I go. However, don't let it stop you from finding it on your journey. Personally, I wouldn't pay over retail for the double oak or the regular, only because they make these pretty often. The double oak, I'm sure when they're gonna make those again. I know the older models, I believe these two, they discontinued the Hostess series. And then the rye they still make, I know a few sites you can actually still get the rye. And this won awards, I believe back in 2022 or 23. This rye, I think, be for sure. So yeah, this is the Pursuit United rye right here. So this is something I would highly recommend if you're looking to get into something a little more experimental, maybe not a name that a lot of people know. Highly recommend getting to Pursuit United. On top of that, if you want to expand your knowledge, you know, within the industry, that's the perfect place to start. I have to plug any podcast right now, I will plug Bourbon Pursuit. Bourbon Pursuit, Bourbon Pursuit, Bourbon Pursuit. I've listened to damn near all their podcasts so far, and they're still making podcasts weekly. Hell, I even plug it right now. They do whiskey quick recap of whiskey. You know, I think once or twice a week. On Thursdays, they have their regular standard podcast offering, and then on Fridays, they do This Week in Bourbon. Check them out, Pursuit United. So if you like this, go ahead. You know what to do. You know what to do. You have to like, right? You have to subscribe, right? And then comment right now if you've heard of Pursuit United, if you heard of Bourbon Pursuit. 2 things I need to know. 1, what's your favorite episode from them? And 2, if you have not heard of them, what are some YouTubers or podcasters that you like that I should probably listen to? So yeah, I would like to know. So with that said, cheers, salud, sante, Kobe, and all that jazz.